Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna put on mute.
That thumb. He's looking at a return either week 8 or week 10. So probably somewhere around 6.5 weeks to 6.5 weeks to 8.5 weeks for Dak Prescott. Week 10 would be against the Packers after the bye. So that is the timetable for Dak Prescott. As far as the potential trade options, my understanding is the Cowboys' priority is to go internal, to go to Cooper Rush, someone they believe in. Certainly not a household name.
Said they're sitting in these rooms right now trying to figure out if their backup quarterback can get through 6-8 weeks. Or are there other options? Are there other quarterbacks out there? I think it's too late.
I do think he will keep them afloat, make some throws, keep these boys on the football field. They will run the ball well. They are fine. That schedule is what we call boo-boo the foo-foo.
Hey guys, welcome back to Primetime Studios. Like always, I'm your host, Primetime Phil, and today we're going to discuss, well, the next game. I mean, is Cooper Rush doing his thing? So, like always, I'm going to, from actually a different location, I'm going to bring in, of course, GameTime Bryan, man. GameTime, what's going on, man?
Primetime Phil, what up? GameTime Bryan, otherwise known as the Mailman, here, broadcasting from the illustrious Jobu Studios.
The Mark Holmes Studio. I like it, man. This is.
I have everything at my fingers. I could go nuts here with all the drops, but we're just gonna leave it like broadcast, like but it's good though, man. It's fun.
I like it, man. It looks really good on you, man. It looks really good. How's Mark doing? Is he cooking some stuff back in the background?
Actually, Mark is upstairs. He's upstairs and he's making something for dinner. So yeah, when I'm done the stream, I'll eat something good. It'll be nice and tasty. I just saw him. He's done his 40 pounds of the smoked pork for tomorrow. I'll be hanging out for the game most likely, and then shooting home for my 160-mile drive right after. But yeah, we're having fun, man.
Yeah,
talking football, hanging out.
You got all the
miserable weather. What else are we gonna do?
Yeah, is there? So you're telling me it's raining right now? Is that what you're telling me, too?
Oh yeah, it's pouring behind me.
Yeah,
it's awesome, isn't it?
Can't hear.
And we're
it.
outside.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's really nice.
I have my jacket on. Angelica, what's up? Gina Thorne, what's up, Gina? Gina. I know she knows what that is. Gina.
Yeah, I'm with Angelica. I'm watching Florida State try to make a comeback here within the last minute and a half and see if they can make it a game for Wake Forest. So, but of course we're not here for that. We're here to talk about the Cowboys versus the Washington. Oh yeah, that's right. They have a name now. The Commanders. Not a great name, but and not playing great football. Honestly, when it comes down to it, they felt very big about themselves going into the year. Obviously, the first year that they're they have a quarterback with a name, and I think that's something that, a lot of people can hang their hats on, and I think that's what a lot of fans have tried to do. And the same thing when it comes to the whole name drop, with Commanders, just trying to psych yourselves. But, what do you think of the Commanders as we go into this matchup?
Listen, I'm not naive to know that they were embarrassed last week. They were embarrassed, and we're going to get their best game. Now, do I think we're going to win? Yes, I think we're going to win the game. I think it's going to be tighter. But then again, the last couple games have been tight. I think it's going to be a tight game into the third quarter. Just expect our defense to make a big play, maybe a pick six. I've been calling for it. It hasn't come through. Diggs had his shot last week, though. Diggs had the shot and it went right through his hands. And I'm calling for Turpin. I think it's Turpin time, man. I think he's going to have a big play. It'll be broken open, but it'll be a close game, man. These East games are always tough normally. Yeah, last year was a bit of a mirage, I think. And, I think even when one team is, perceived bad, they always seem to show up. And they were embarrassed on national television last week. I think it was a national game. But, yeah, the Commanders, it's weird saying the Commanders. They were embarrassed.
I can't get used to it. I was making fun of their name last year, like the whole year. So it's kind of hard to kind of switch focus and try to actually give them a name. So yeah,
helmet that I grabbed. I was grabbing helmets. Mark has every helmet. I grabbed the original Washington helmet. This one it has that, but it's got his hand covering the face. So it's actually pretty cool. But he's like, you can't use the other one. I'm like, all right, I could, but yeah, I'm still an old school guy. It is what it is. But the Commanders, man, they're wearing all black tomorrow. What do you think about that?
Well, that's probably going to be the most intimidating thing about them is just their uniform. I'm not, and I'm right there with you. I mean, when you look at Carson Wentz, I mean, he's bound to just have a game that he'll all of a sudden snap back from, and so I mean, I understand your concerns where it comes to that. But I also look at our defense and say, man, they have been playing some freaking lights-out football. They have been getting in people's face, some top-rate offenses, whether, I'm not saying the Giants, but prior to that, they were definitely getting people's faces. And so when you look at a guy like Carson Wentz, he comes out in the media and says that, I believe in my guys, but, he got sacked 9 times last week. And this pressure of this defense can definitely get there. So, I expect them to have a long day.
The ball.
Yep, and they kept throwing the ball. They abandoned the run very quickly, which is kind of reminds you of somebody. But I'll give him his props. He called a really good game last week in Kellen Moore.
Mary Alvarez, how you doing, sweetie? How are you? Thank you,
Mark. What's going on?
Listen, my main fear is just the fact that they got embarrassed. But what gives me comfort when I lay my head, my head on my pillow at night, and I want to just be nice and relaxed before I go to bed, is that we have a good defense. Our defense is dominant, and I always say this, but it is going to get better. We have a few new pieces. It's going to get better, people. It's young, it's fast, and it's going to get better. And they're playing at a championship level now. Wait till we start getting the turnovers, because that's the one area where we are low. We're like last in the league, or I want to say 30th in turnovers, which is weird. But you know how that works, Phil. They normally come in bunches usually. So expect for some turnovers tomorrow. I think Wentz will fumble the ball. So let's put some pressure on him.
Yeah, we'll definitely get more into this. We should have Cowboys Corner, which he just jumped in the chat. We should be having him pop up here in the next couple of minutes here, and then Happy K-Mess as well from Twitter as well. So I'm definitely excited to get those guys' insight to this game and insight to what the Cowboys have been doing. I mean, what's their take about it? And so I know what I've been listening on YouTube, but I want to give other people their perspective as well. So I'm going to give you a comment again, Bryan. The studio looks really good on you, man. So yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I'm just a visitor, but yeah, man, it would be nice to have this. If you saw what I saw from behind the scenes, it is cool. He has a real good setup here. He can be inside if he wants. He could be outside. Mark ain't no dummy, and that's why he is who he is. We would all be jealous of this, but it's fun. And as a friend, shoot down here, and he's allowing me to use his set. I appreciate it, Mark. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, So right now I'm telling Mike to go ahead and jump on in, so we can go ahead and switch, so we can get in some deep conversations. Because right now I think we're sugarcoating it when it comes to what, you know. This is a rivalry game. This is a trap type of game. I mean, I think we can both agree. I'm not saying that, and we're not saying that in the sense that it's a rivalry game. Those things can be competitive out of nowhere, and I think, you know, that's where the fear is obviously Carson Wentz can have a game out of nowhere, and it can make us look bad. But, you know, I really, for the first time in a long time, I actually look forward to a defense that has actually been flying around the ball, getting turnovers, getting sacks, leading the league in sacks. I think that was something that we have not done in a very long time. So it's good to see it coming from other places other than just Micah Parsons. Obviously, Mike is wreaking havoc. He's doing his thing. But I like to see the other parts of the defense obviously stepping up as well.
Yeah. Our defense is nasty. Expect, the turnovers to come. Micah Parsons was like maybe 70% last week, and he put some hellacious hits on Danny Dimes. He's going to be better this week.
Yeah, my question to you is Carson, which one do you think is the better quarterback, Carson Wentz or Danny Dimes?
I would go Danny Dimes. I'm sorry. I mean, Wentz doesn't have the elusiveness and can't. I mean, if you know, I think Danny got at least 3 first downs with his feet. And he made some good throws. He really didn't have a bad game at all. I mean, that was the one bright spot. Him and Barkley, it looks like he's 100%. Which I told you, it's hard to keep a guy like that down. That's why I'll be curious to see if Scary Terry is active tomorrow, because if he's not, then that's huge. He always burns us. But if he's active, expect a touchdown by Terry McLaurin. He just seems to have our number.
Yeah, and I heard that. Yeah, I think we were here from Troy.
That matter. One guy ain't going to win. They ain't going to cause us to lose the game.
What's up, Mike? How's it going, man?
Going good, brother. How are you? Thanks for having me on. I hope you guys can hear me okay. I had to bring out the headphones because you warned me ahead of time.
Yeah.
So thanks for having me.
Man, I appreciate you coming on.
I know you watch the Frisco Report a lot. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I had to show you some love because you've always been there for us, the Frisco Report and other avenues on Cowboys Corner. So definitely had to come in here and talk some Cowboy football, man.
Appreciate it, man. Right now we were on the debate whether with Carson Wentz and Daniel Jones, who do you think is the better quarterback? Do you think, in the sense that, do you think Carson will be able to do more against this defense than what Daniel Jones did?
No, I don't think so. I think they're both the caliber of quarterbacks that they are. Danny Dimes, they did not pick up his fifth-year option, and that kind of showed. He had a 2-0 start. Kudos to him. But, when he faces a real defense and he gets sacked and pressure's applied, he threw a game-ending interception. Carson Wentz is the same caliber of quarterback. He had one good year, and then, he started getting hurt, and the injuries happened when they won that Super Bowl there in Philadelphia. So, it kind of reminds me of RG3's career. I don't know what it is with NFC East quarterbacks. Once they get hurt, confidence really starts bocking down. And so it's just going to be one of those things where, Cowboys defense has to step up and really play lights out ball, because if Carson Wentz can get in momentum, he can get in momentum.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Agree. Definitely agree. And I mean, we got.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Yeah, definitely, because one thing about Wentz, he will fumble the ball. I'm just hoping that we continue the games up front and get to him early. I was telling Phil before you hopped on, Scary Terry always burns us. So you cannot give him time, Wentz. You can't. So it would be nice. It would be nice to get a lead, but like I was telling Phil, it's one of those deals where the NFC East usually plays close games. I know last year it was a bit of a mirage. We were blowing everybody out. Listen, they have a lot of pride over there, or here in Washington, and they're going to come out ready to play. They're going to have to. Their season is on the line, and they got embarrassed. So expect them to come out punching. We just got to withstand it, and like Mike says, we need to bring our defense. and hopefully special teams. I really think that in Turpin, it's his week. He's been close. Last week he should have had it. I'm just looking for our defensive special teams to carry the day. I think you're going to get a good effort from the Washington defense. I really do.
Nice, nice, nice. When you look at last week, I mean, you were right on the ball when you said that Washington loves to do what we like to do in the sense of what Kellen Moore was doing before, and that's abandon the run very quickly. And so you saw guys like Curtis Samuels that got 10 targets, and of course Terry that had 9 targets. So I mean, right there they were throwing the ball to their main 2 guys. Just something that we don't have main 2 guys, and hopefully with Michael Gallup coming back, that'll relieve CeeDee Lamb a little bit, so CeeDee Lamb can do his number 2 thing and kind of shine when somebody else does. And of course, you still got Noah Brown doing his thing as well too. So it's nice to see other people step up, other than just relying totally on CeeDee Lamb. What do you guys think about the wide receiver core going in now with a possible Michael Gallup leading them?
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, we talked about this on the first report, and Joe, Cowboys blog, he was all about Michael Gallup coming in here and making a real big difference. And I just don't see it. I think as long as Cooper Rush can keep the X's and O's, what he has been doing against the Bengals, against the New York Giants on Monday Night Football last week, as long as he can keep that in front of him and not try to do too much, Michael Gallup's not going to get that many snaps. So Noah Brown and that Cooper Rush connection is still going to be there. CeeDee Lamb, it seemed like to me the switch turned on after that big drop. And the switch turned on. So Michael Gallup is an added piece. Yes, he's better than Noah Brown. Is he going to elevate this offense to a top 5 caliber offense? I don't think so. This offense is what it is. We need CeeDee Lamb to elevate this offense into a top 5. And then Noah Brown and Michael Gallup needs to follow him into that. So it's just a matter of Cooper Rush doing what Cooper Rush does, distributing the ball, playing smart. Michael Gallup's just another element to add to it, but we don't want Cooper Rush getting too pass happy. Establish that run game, play action. I mean, Cooper Rush talks about play action all the time. So get that play action going, and then Michael Gallup can make that difference, and then CeeDee Lamb can take over the game, because we want CeeDee Lamb to take over football games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I just hope Kellen Moore, that's my biggest concern. He's had a couple games where he's basically, because the dogs were at the door. They were at him, at the door for him. They wanted his head. He needs to keep the balance. He really does, like Mike says. And that will open up play action. And once we suck in the defense, then as you see people, run free in this offense. That's what needs to happen. You need to run the ball. You bring Pollard in. Mm-hmm. I like the 2 running back sets. I like the 12 personnel. I'm always talking it. I just don't want to see, just because Gallup is back, I don't want to see us lining up 3 wide very often unless it's a situation where we have yardage, a third and long type of situation. So that's what I'm hoping. Kellen Moore, please be smart.
Yeah, I think Mike hits it really on the head when it comes to the play calling, what they've done with Cooper Rush, just allowing him to play basic, and they say dumb down the playbook, but that's not really what it is. It's really, you're not doing the Kellen Moore triple reverses, and you're just kind of just doing hopefully north to south football. And it's kind of nice to see, and I think that's the biggest transition. Is like when we're talking about Dak to Cooper Rush and that whole what happens if this and with that. That's great that we're talking about that, but that doesn't mean anything if Kellen Moore just goes back to the way he was doing it. I think Mike hits it right on the head when it comes to that. So I also agree as well that a guy like Dalton Schultz won't make as big of an impact when you have a guy like Cooper Rush just going and trying to get it to the open guy, and so I mean obviously Dalton Schultz is going to be your number 1 tight end going in there, so obviously he will make more of an impact than he did prior. But what do you guys think Dalton Schultz wise going in? I mean, did you like what you saw from Hendershot and Ferguson going from the Giants game?
Go ahead, Mike. Yeah.
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike.
He'll do that a lot, so don't worry.
No, it's all right. So Hendershot and Ferguson. These tight ends, and rest in peace to Gavin Escobar. A lot of these tight ends didn't get a lot of chances because we had the great Jason Witten on this football team. So now they're taking this, we talk about the wide receiver by committee. It's kind of tight end by committee with these four. Sean McEwen still in the mix here. So these guys are getting opportunities, more like the mortal Jason Witten that never came off the field. So it's really good to see, our rookie tight end Ferguson, and it's good to see our undrafted free agent Hendershot go in there and make some play. I really like Hendershot. Cowboys blog called him out. I was like, who's that? So I had to, go do some homework, and I was like, I kind of like this kid. Let's see what he can do. And they're getting these opportunities versus what Cowboy tight ends haven't really gotten in a long time. So I do like it. Dalton Schultz, he's on a contract year, obviously, on a franchise tag. He has to play at a high level, but, it's going to be real interesting, and I'm getting ahead of myself here. It's going to be real interesting how the Cowboys navigate that with Dalton Schultz, if they do it at all, because you can still draft you a tight end in the third round next year, and you really solidified that with Ferguson and with Hendershot there. So Dalton Schultz coming in here makes a big difference. He's quarterback friendly. He's very smart. I know he gets a lot of flack about not blocking, but he does his job when he needs to do his job. When the game's on the line, depend on Dalton Schultz to go out there and make a play for us.
Yeah, I think after last week, Jerry wasn't real happy with him. He basically, because all indications are in the pregame warm-up that he was good to go. In his mind, he was maybe 90%, but he made a business decision last week, and he saw what happens when you do that in the NFL. You open up the door for a guy like Peyton Hendershot, and dude, I love that kid. He has a lot of fire and passion after he catches the ball.
Wiry.
And that's what happens. And, we all know what Dalton Schultz can bring. It's no surprise. He could be a big-time threat, especially in the slot on third down for Dak, especially. That's his guy. He needs to get in there. Again, I love rolling with the 12 personnel. So I do want to see the other two guys in there and getting their snaps. They're young guys. Is it me or does Cooper Rush? He has that thing with Noah Brown. He hasn't been going to the tight ends as much. So it'll be interesting to see his relationship with Dalton Schultz. I don't know how much they've worked together, but let's get him back. Let's get him lined up and get the ball in his hands. That's the one thing about Cooper Rush I do like, is that they seem to throw the ball up the field a little more than instead of working the sidelines. So, and that's tight end. That's Dalton Schultz. So I'm ready for him to come back and help us win against the Commanders tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, how have you guys liked the offensive line? I mean, do you like the obviously Jason Peters coming in for that one play looked amazing, and but we're not going to hang our hats all on that one play. But the offensive line did look really good and very dominant in that left side when he was in. But you got a guy like McGovern coming back into the loop. What do you guys think about the offensive line in general? I personally have liked the fact that they've been able to hold up. Even guys like Matt Fornock, whereas, there was some weaknesses with him pulling with other people and kind of like reading off of it. But then there's been some other times where he's pulled and actually busted it or open. So you see some of these guys with flashes, but you like the fact that you got a Tyler Smith that was able to go in there, and maybe not all of us were on board with him jumping to left tackle. I know I wasn't. I really wanted him to go and stay at left guard for the first beginning part, and then possibly move to left tackle next year. But hey, I can't argue with results, and sometimes something bad has to fall apart in order to make way for better things. So I'm liking what the offensive line is doing so far, and I think that's where I've been wrong with this team. And I can admit that I have been wrong with some of these offensive picks. So Tyler Smith definitely being one of those guys, but I like the pick overall. So what do you guys think about the offensive line play? Where do you see it going in the future in the sense of some of these moves and guys coming back?
I'm assuming I'm going first.
Yeah.
No, this is a really good topic here, Phil. Really good topic. Because the offensive line was a concern, right? They drafted Josh Ball. They drafted Matt Forniak late in the round. McGovern, he's been hanging on by a thread, and so it's really good to see. Yes, the offensive line was horrible last year. They had like over 10 different rotations of offensive line, and it's really good that they're bringing in this depth. I wasn't all about Jason Peters coming in here. I wasn't. Especially playing on the football field. To mentor the guys, absolutely. Bring them in all day long, mentor. But I like the communication on that one play. Go back and watch the film. Jason Peters lines up. He looks at Tyler Smith. He said, da-da-da-da-da-da, whatever he said. And then, bam, Tony Pollard takes off in the hole, right? So that's the presence felt from Jason Peters. You don't hang your hat on one play like Primetime Field, but the offensive depth, right? McGovern, he can play the left. He can play the right. Forniak's a backup center. Peters can play left tackle, left guard. So there's a lot of pieces that you could rotate if injury was bound to happen.
Yeah.
And we got to keep Josh Ball off the field by all means necessary. So it's a great thing to have, and it's really good that this offensive line was a concern, but it's really good how Mike McCarthy, Will McClay, these guys got together and built this thing up.
Yeah. Me and Phil were talking in the draft. We were listen, I'll call it when I'm wrong. I was worried about Tyler Smith playing left tackle, but after 3 games, he struggled a little bit in the first game, got better in the second game, and he got better in the third game. The sky is the limit. You see him get to the second level as a blocker. And man, we saw it was only a few plays, but we saw him and Jason Peters together. Man, that was exciting. You saw Pollard pop a big one on his first carry. Our line is playing as good as it's played in quite some time. So, and if you notice, leaving Terrence Steele at right tackle seems to be working. He's doing great. I'm a little concerned about our interior tomorrow. Biotish, he's the one guy. He's been playing okay. But tomorrow is going to be it's going to be a tough game for Tyler Biotish. So we will see if he can hold up to those 2 big boys for the Commanders. If we can keep the pocket clean for Rush, that'll I think will determine the game. I think if they can get in Rush's face and really collapse the pocket, then there could be some issues. That's if I'm a Commander fan, that's the one way I could see this game being closer than what it really should be. I think Dallas, should be able to win the game. I'm surprised. I don't know if you guys, it's only a -3 for the Cowboys. It's like, why is it only 3 points? Is it just because of the quarterback? As bad as Washington has been playing? Very interesting. It's very interesting.
Yeah, when you look at their offense in general, but go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. No. He was talking about the interior lineman for the Commanders. And, we went up against Vita Vea, and I thought Tyler Biotish and that interior did really good. We went up against a really good interior Bengals team, and I really thought they did really good. So they went up with some caliber pieces here where I'm not really biting my fingernails like, okay,
First game was a bit of a struggle, though. We really couldn't run the ball in the A and B gap. It didn't seem it seemed like they had the line of scrimmage as far as, but that was the first game. We shall see. That's going to be key. So if he's ready to roll, then he can keep them off of Cooper. And because if you notice, Cooper was not shy with the blitz last week. He was not shy at all. He actually stepped up, took some big hits, and delivered. There was one ball to the sideline to CeeDee Lamb was incredible. That was an incredible throw. Hey, if he keeps doing that, we're going to be fine.
Yeah, go ahead. Keep going. I'm like sending some links to some people here, trying to get some people on the chat.
Yeah, so, I just like how they're building up this offensive line here. Tyron Smith not being there. We've seen that plenty of times, and it just looked really bad. It really looked really bad. So I'm glad they're building up this depth.
It's exciting.
Real nice.
Isn't it? That we're doing this well without Tyron. Tyron's a mainstay, and I love Tyron, but he hasn't been able to stay healthy. Like I was telling Mark earlier on his live stream, if it's going to happen and Tyron's going to get hurt, I'm glad it happened at the beginning of the year, so Tyler can get all this experience, kind of like working with the on-the-job experience. It really, we did call that this, that there was potential for this to be a good thing. I mean, injuries are never good, but there was a chance that Tyler could blossom and turn into that player that we wanted him to be, and he's getting his opportunity. And man, I'm happy with what I'm seeing. Yeah, he's had a couple penalties as well as other guys, but he is really stepping up, and I think the sky's the limit for that kid.
Yeah, well, maybe as soon as you're worried about the left tackle position, it maybe got answered right away. So hopefully going into not jumping the gun like Mike says, hopefully going into this upcoming draft, you can go to the interior and focus on that part of the line because, you got something, a future piece there at your left tackle. Now, when it comes to the power, like I was jumping into the off when we were talking about offense and what our offense can do against their defense. I think that's a big thing. I mean, I like what Cooper Rush has done, and I think we've all agreed. Kellen Moore, simplifying the actual offense and allowing the running game to actually set this up and getting the, I've really liked it. But at the same time, I have been hearing people, and I want to jump on this before we continue on with the game, because I think this is the category that I really want to talk about. This whole thing, let's say Cooper Rush wins. Let's say Dak's not ready. Let's say Rush, you're going into that Rams game, and he's winning and stuff. What is your take with this whole, do you take Rush out? Do you put Dak in? Is it you don't take the hot hand in? What is your guys' take about this before I
stay here?
Yeah. What do you got to say about it, Mike?
Yeah, no, it's, I'm not the biggest Dak fan, right? I'm on record plenty of times saying I'm not the biggest Dak fan. But when Dak came in 2016 with Tony Romo getting hurt, it's different because Tony Romo's at the tail end of his contract. Dak Prescott has a no-trade clause. He has a couple more years on his deal, right? So that's a lot of dead money if Cowboys treat Dak very, very badly, and that's going to hurt the team a lot. And so, you have to get into the trade clause, this, then, and the third. Dak's coming back regardless. It's really good to know that we have a really good, solid backup. Dak Prescott and Cooper Rush, they're two different players, but they play exactly alike. They need to set up the play action. They have to get moving. Dak especially has to move to his right. Dak has to get, those accurate throws in or we're going to beat him up. Here's the thing, and this is what I said the other day. Dak's going back in. It doesn't matter who the hot hand is. Dak's going back in. If we see the Dak Prescott that played against the Denver Broncos, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Arizona Cardinals, the Las Vegas Raiders, if we see Dak Prescott, then there's a controversy. Because Dak Prescott in those games didn't live up to the salary didn't meet the expectations of the player in those games. So Cooper Rush, let's say he wins all these games when he's in here. Dak Prescott comes back, and Dak Prescott is the Dak Prescott that I mentioned in those football games. Then it's going to be like fans are going to start wanting Cooper Rush in, then you have some Dak, you didn't live up to this contract. We want to trade you. Then you can have those talks. But if Dak Prescott come here, light it up, it's a blessing because we got two really good quarterbacks just in case Dak goes down again. So there's really not a lot of conversation here until we see a Dak Prescott that played like he did in those games last year.
Yeah, well, I know what Phil's asking. Basically, we win tomorrow, okay. So you're 3-1. I don't necessarily think he's coming back for the Chargers. He hasn't even practiced yet, but Rams. So if he goes into the Rams and beats the Rams, how are we going to bring Dak back to go to the Eagles? You know what I mean? That's my thing. It's like at that point, he just went in and beat the Rams. Or if Rush, wins tomorrow, which we expect, and then Dak comes back and gets hammered by the Rams, then it's see, Dak had a bad game. I just think it's a tough situation right now for Dak, but I agree with Mike. He is the man. If you're going to win anything substantial going forward, you're going to need somebody that's going to be able to make plays because they will adjust to Cooper Rush. They're not just going to play the defense that they're playing. They actually blitzed Cooper quite a bit last week, and our line picked it up. If they start playing coverage, because that's what they're doing to Dak. They're just playing coverage with, and just making Dak hold the ball.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see. But ultimately, in order to win anything substantial, you're going to need Dak Prescott. And Cooper Rush is doing what a backup quarterback is supposed to do, win games. And my question to you guys is, there has never been a Dallas Cowboys quarterback win their first 4 games as a starter. Never. He's 3-0 now. If he wins tomorrow, that adds another wrinkle to the whole thing. Not that they sit back, look at these stats, but that's just a fact. It kind of amazed me that no Cowboy quarterback has ever won their first 4 starts of their career as a Cowboy. And he will do that. This will be his 4th start. He's 3-0 so far.
I don't know. I
thoughts?
can't say I'm too far away from believing that there's been no Cowboy that ever started out that way, because it seems like anytime we've ever started a quarterback, it's always some kind of controversy or somebody went down or it's never been like, hey, we set him up to be this good quarterback. No, that ain't how it is. So before I jump on it more, James Nook, he's joining us here. Hey, James, welcome, man.
How's it going?
Yeah, going pretty good, man. How did
I'm
party
doing
go?
good.
Yeah. So,
sorry I caught on a little late.
No, man, it's all good. It's all good. We appreciate you coming by, man. We were just talking about how Dak and Cooper Rush and the whole, what could be, what obviously, even what Jerry was talking about in the sense of some of this controversy that could be. Now, I'm with Mike in a lot of sense, like, you have your hot hands. You're going into, if for example he wins this game and you're not trying to bring in, Dak Prescott on a really, good defense, for example, as the Rams. But if you're trying to warm him up for a division game for the Eagles, I mean, it's not a bad thing as well, too. So keeping Cooper Rush in there, allowing him to continue to do his thing, because I think you bring him in if there's a hot hand and there's no controversy. I think you bring him in when there's a struggle in the offense, because I think everybody welcomes a quarterback usually when the offense is not getting moving. I mean, think about how many times Fitzmagic got contracts because he kept coming in and all of a sudden moving offenses. So I look at that controversy and just say, hey, man, there's really no controversy, but it's good to have a backup quarterback. So I'm with Mike. It's good to have a backup quarterback that can actually win you some games. So, James, what do you think about the whole possible controversy?
I agree, too. Dak's our guy. They need to stick with him. I mean, Cooper is doing a good job as a backup quarterback. He's doing what we should. He's doing way better than any other backup we've had in a while. Y'all remember when we had Brandon Whedon and Matt Castle and all them, how much of a train wreck that was. So he's doing a good job. I like the fact he knows the system, but this is still Dak's team at the end of the day. And as soon as he's ready, they just need to go ahead and put Dak back in.
Yeah, I'm with you right there. So what do you think? And since you're jumping in new, what have you thought about CeeDee Lamb? What do you think about him after he had that drop? Mike was saying that there was a turning point right there, and hopefully that's what clicked on him. But what did you think of his performance, and what do you think of him going into this game?
Well, he's just got to work on his consistency. He's got potential. It's like Mark Holmes said a while back. He can get open. That's not the problem. He's always available, but the problem is he needs to learn how to focus on the ball. Because I think when he dropped that first pass, he took his eye off the ball for a slight second, and that's why he dropped it. If he had concentrated on that ball, he would have caught it and scored the touchdown. So he's got all the capabilities. He just needs to work on keeping his eye on the ball.
He does that a lot. Not a lot, but he does that in situations, man. I know it really annoyed me last week. I was on Twitter lighting his ass up because that was a big game, man. And he was wide open, and it was a perfect throw. And then you got to make that on the road, NFC East game. I didn't know how the game was going to turn out. You had to make that play. But, man, did he step up? Did he step up?
I think it was mental that first half. I really do. It was just something mental in his head.
And, James, that's what I'm concerned about tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we're going to lose. So I'm not like, don't say that, if you're scared, get a dog. It's the NFC East. I almost said it. The Commanders were embarrassed last week. Literally embarrassed. They're going to, mark my words, they're going to come out strong tomorrow.
Their backs are up against the wall.
Yeah, so their backs are up against the wall. But we have a defense that they haven't seen yet. So,
Micah Parsons was sick last week, and he
Yeah.
still made his presence felt, but he's going to be healthy this week.
he had a couple plays last week. He didn't get any sacks. Man, he put some hits on Danny. It was impressive. He blew one dude up. He probably outweighed him by 50, 60 pounds. You probably did that and just blew him up.
Well, he did that to Lyle Collins when they played the Bengals.
Yeah.
He
And then
was
Lyle
blowing him up.
after the game. Well, I would have been embarrassed, Lyle, but hey, whatever. I know you're.
So you got a
Crazy.
lot of these guys stepping up in the sense of the depth for this team, and I think that's a big thing that you can rotate. Whether you got Cooper Rush you're talking about, whether you're talking about Jaron Kearse being out, and you got Donovan Wilson coming in, obviously stepping up. You got some of these wide receivers. I'm not gonna give them this whole pedigree on that sense because they still haven't. There hasn't. Noah Brown probably be that guy for you that has stepped up, but I think that more has to do with the connection that he has with Cooper Rush. But it's nice to see that these other guys have been able to step up. I mean, you're not missing a guy like Randy Gregory because of Dorrance Armstrong. So I give them credit in the sense of bringing him back. Dante Fowler's been doing his thing. He hasn't been getting his name out there, but he's been doing a lot of small things, and I think that's what we can agree with Bohanna and maybe even possibly Osa Digizua. That's somebody I kind of wish I heard his name a little bit more. But it's nice to see that this defense, I would say, whether it's not top 3, top 5, it is doing some crazy stuff. So, I mean, I don't want to get my head too wrapped around what this defense is doing, but it's hard to ignore it when they're getting so many sacks, they're getting so much pressure when you have a sick Micah Parsons like your guys are saying. What do you guys think about the defense going into the Washington matchup? Do you think that Washington will be able to move the ball? Because, I mean, you saw how they played against other teams, and even including Jacksonville. What do you think they'll do against our defense this upcoming game? Go ahead, James. I
think they're going to try to run the ball.
Okay.
That's just my opinion.
What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, Mike, go ahead.
Let me make sure I'm going to understand. It's really hard to hear you, Phil. I'm sorry.
No, sorry about that.
Our offense versus their defense?
Basically their offense versus our defense. How do you think going forward do you think it's going to be? I mean, do you think that they're going to be able to move the ball easily, or do you think it's going to be their toughest matchup of the season so far?
Oh, it's going to be the toughest matchup of the season so far. Now, obviously, it's a divisional game. They might catch us with our pants down a couple of times just because it's a divisional matchup. Saquon Barkley had the big, long run just because you're going to get that in a divisional game. You're not going to be able to shut them down completely. They're going to score on you just because of the divisional matchup. They know each other very, very, very well. But it's going to be the best defense. I really think, and I'm not saying this because I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, it's going to be the best defense that they've seen they might see for quite a few games coming up. I mean, this defense is really on the uptrend here, and it's going to be another sack fest. They can try to run the ball, but I really like our front seven as a whole. And Trayvon Diggs, McLaurin, Trayvon Diggs is greedy when it comes to him, so I don't expect that wide receiver to get crazy amount of yards. And the one wide receiver might have 50, and that's about it. And I'm very confident in that.
Yeah, I think if we can limit the big play and make them drive, I don't think that they're going to be capable of doing that on a consistent basis. I think as long as we don't give up the big play, whether it's Scary Terry on a 9 route or whoever, just make them drive the ball, make them get into some 3rd and long, stop the run. We will be fine.
All right.
I do think it'll be close for a bit. I do think it'll be a close game.
So I'm going to get to the part of the segment.
Does anybody know?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, James. No, go, James. Go ahead, Jim. Do it.
I was just going to ask, are they going to? I heard rumors they're going to put Jason Peters at guard. Is that true, or are they going to rotate him with Tyler Smith at tackle at times?
They're going to leave him at guard. If he does anything, they're going to rotate him at guard.
Yeah, tackle. Okay.
No, I think guard.
Stay at guard.
Not tackle.
Yeah, he'll stay at guard.
He's going to stay at guard.
Yeah, I think whatever.
They saw from Tyler, but
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if they hadn't seen what they have seen in the past couple games, only allowing one sack out of 170 something snaps. I mean, that's pretty impressive. Whether any part of the line, I mean, the only other person that you could probably compare him to on that line that's probably doing better is obviously Zach Martin. You never hear Zach Martin's name called there, so that's great. Yeah, so you kind of forget about him, which is
Steele.
Yeah. Oh, and Steele. I mean, Steele has definitely been doing better.
Man. He's been quiet, which
he's
is
been
good.
improving.
Linemen, when you don't hear their name, that's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah, he's actually improved. There's been some times where I've been iffy about some of his blocking schemes there with Steele, but he's definitely done better than what he was doing at the end of last season. So I'm going to get to the juicy part of this. What do you guys think is going to be the outcome? What do you guys think is going to be the outcome for this? Do you think, obviously, a victory for us? Do you think the final score? This is where we get to this point, and with the people in the chat as well to let us know what your scores are going to be. We're going to go ahead and start down below. We're going to go with James. James, give us who do you think is going to walk away with this, and then we're going to follow with Mike right after.
I think we're going to walk away, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I mean, I think it's going to be a 3-score game with us. I mean, Washington, their backs are up against the wall. Ron Rivera's job's on the line, in a hot seat and all that. So he's going to have them ready.
What about you, Mike?
Yeah, no, man, I really think this is going to be the game that we've been waiting on. When it comes to teams like the Commanders, the Cowboys really put the foot on the throat and they don't let go. I think this is going to be a 35-point game for the Cowboys, and I think the Commanders can maybe get 9 on us. And I'm dead serious. I'm dead. This is going to be the game where they say, I'm going to take you to a more competitive game, and it's going to be at the start of the fourth quarter. And
I like it.
Cowboys won't be on TV anymore.
Yeah, I like it.
Listen,
I like it.
35, I could see it. Listen, I'm not.
You can't shy away. You could see it. Yes, sure. Yes.
This team continues to amaze me. I like a closer game, but I do like whether it's a special team. If I get what I think I'm going to get, is a special teams touchdown and a defensive touchdown, then it very well could be Mike is right with the 35. But I don't have my mailbox here. I don't have my mailbox. So I like now. Well, let's just go over the line here, which I do find it interesting that the Cowboys are only a -3. I thought it would be 4.5, 5. I expected it to be a little bit higher than 3, and it's 41.5. It's going to be a close game at halftime, and if it's not, then Mike might be right with the 35. I have a final score of Dallas 27 and the Commanders 13. I think they're going to get a cheap touchdown somehow. Whether whether Gibson takes a screen, McLaurin gets loose, the rookie Doxson, he could. They're going to get a cheap touchdown somewhere, and then we'll probably.
I think Turpin's going to get a run back this game.
Yeah, I think that's so.
This is going to be the game we're going to see Turpin get it.
27-13, but I think halftime score is going to be a 13-10. Something like that. It's going to be close, and if it's not, it'll be nice to be able to sit back and enjoy a win where it's not that tight in the second half. We can't keep winning these possession games, man. We can't. It's just it's not good for me personally.
See, I'm with Randy. I'm with Randy's sights. I think the Cowboys are going to take this one. I don't see it being a close game. I see it that it could be a close game. I mean, that's how division games are. I mean, any of these games can be a close game, but I definitely don't. As much as, again, we're right on that same narrative, I think Carson Wentz could come back out. But, I really think this defense is going to shut the door there. I think it's going to be a 28-10 Dallas victory. So I'm with Randy when it comes to that. Close. So we're right there. So when I heard it, I was like, okay. When we get kind of close there, I like those because those are the games that we're usually right on there. So that's awesome.
Yes, I like Dallas -3, but I like the under 41.5. You betting folk out there. I'm on a roll. So
I'm seeing some turnovers.
Score 38. I really do, but.
So I appreciate you guys coming on. I appreciate everybody joining us in the chat. You guys obviously can join us on Monday as we talk about the game and what happened during the game. And the mailman will be back at his address. So by that point, right?
Shout out to Mark Holmes for letting me use his wonderful.
Where's Mark at anyways? Is he making the meats?
He's making
the meats. Over there. He's actually out here now. He's out here.
So getting the food ready. Man, I wish I could be
he's
there.
right there, and he's taking it in from the cheap seats, you know. So but I just want to hit buttons here. I want to hit drops, but I, you know, it's got an itch. But that's all right. It's all good. I want to thank Mike from Cowboys.
Yeah, I was going to tell you, Mike. Go ahead and let everybody know if they haven't, they don't know where to find you already, so that way they can kind of find you out there.
Yeah, guys. Hey, appreciate you guys having me on Primetime Field, man. It's been great. I need to get the other gentleman's YouTube. If you can drop his link in there, I'll go ahead and subscribe. And same thing with the gentleman on the far right here. A bunch of new faces here in the Cowboy community. I'll tell you, I've been on this platform for 8 years, and I did it just for this reason right here, interacting with other Dallas Cowboy fans with the same level of passion. And underscore Cowboys Corner 1. I don't think is there a 1 on my Twitter, man? I don't ever tweet myself. I think it's just underscore Cowboys Corner. You can't type that in. You might be able to find me. And then Cowboys Corner right here on YouTube, guys. I really, really appreciate you guys letting me come.
I'll also put it in the description.
I appreciate
later on.
you letting me come on.
Yeah, James, man, I appreciate you jumping in the last second, man. We were trying to get James prior, but he had some stuff that he had to do, and so I'm glad that he was able to jump in and hopefully next week we can get K-Mess in. So I appreciate it. Game time, like always, man. I appreciate you coming on, and my partner in crime. And so again, everybody appreciate it. Primetime Phil, James Nook, Cowboys Corner with Mike over here, and of course Game Time Bryan. I appreciate all you guys coming on, and don't forget to always ring that bell.
No.
I'm sorry, John. I'm sorry.
No, it'll be okay. Stay with us. It'll be okay.
I have to go away.
No, don't do it. Please, don't go.
You gotta go home, man.
Fine by me!
Okay, bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Bye. Hello, you have been rude to me the entire flight. No, I wanted a blanket and you never brought it to me. And I'm gonna... Bye-bye. 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 You are bye-bye. Rude. Bye-bye. Never bye-bye. Ridiculous. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Be excellent to each other.
And party on, dudes!
And the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys? Yeah!